The fabric between dimensions screamed as it tore. Danny Fenton had faced a lot of weird situations since the accident that killed and revived him simultaneously. Fighting ghost tyrants, saving the world from meteor strikes, even dealing with an evil future version of himself. But getting pulled through a swirling vortex of green ectoplasm mixed with something else, something that felt fundamentally wrong compared to the ghost zone's familiar energy, definitely ranked in his top 10 strangest experiences. He tumbled through the rift in his ghost form, white hair whipping around his face, the black and white hazmat suit that had become his second skin crackling with residual energy. The portal behind him collapsed with a sound like reality snapping back into place, and Danny had approximately 2 seconds to register that he was no longer anywhere near Amity Park before gravity, or something much stronger, caught him. The planet below rushed up to meet him. It was small, impossibly small, like someone had taken a normal planet and shrunk it down to the size of a large house. A narrow path wound up its curved surface to a small building that looked almost comically oversized for the tiny celestial body. Trees bent at impossible angles, following the sphere's curvature. "Oh, this is gonna hurt," Danny muttered, going intangible on instinct. He phased through the planet's grassy surface and immediately knew something was wrong. The intangibility felt sticky, like pushing through honey instead of air. Before he could adjust, he'd already passed through the planet entirely and was falling through empty space on the other side. "Okay, new plan." Danny flipped in midair, firing an ectoblast at the planet's surface to arrest his momentum. The green energy struck the grass and exploded in a shower of harmless sparks. He touched down on the curved surface, his feet sliding slightly before he caught his balance. What is with this place? He looked down at his hands. His ghost powers were working, but everything felt off. Heavier. The energy in the air was different, not ectoplasmic, but something alive and vibrant that made his skin tingle. "Whis, did you just feel that?" A voice carried across the miniature planet. Danny spun around. 2 figures stood near the oversized building, one tall and thin with white hair and a blue complexion, and wearing robes and carrying a staff. And the other... Danny's jaw dropped. The second figure was shorter, muscular, wearing an orange guy with a blue undershirt. His spiky black hair stuck up at wild angles, and his expression was one of pure excitement. But what made Danny's ghost sense scream in warning was the energy radiating off him. It felt like standing near a nuclear reactor. Raw, barely contained power that made the air shimmer. "Indeed, Lord Beerus," the taller figure said, his voice polite and oddly cheerful. "It appears we have an uninvited guest. How curious." A third presence made itself known. From inside the building, a figure emerged that made Danny's core temperature drop several degrees. The being was tall, purple-skinned, with large pointed ears and a tail that swished behind him like a cat's. He wore Egyptian-looking collared jewelry and baggy purple pants, but his eyes, golden and slitted like a feline's, radiated an aura of casual destruction that made every instinct Danny had screamed to run. "I was sleeping," the purple being said, his voice carrying the dangerous edge of someone who'd just been woken from a nap and wasn't happy about it. "This better be interesting, Whis." "Oh, I believe it will be, Lord Beerus," Whis replied, his staff tapping the ground. "Our visitor appears to be, well, that's the question, isn't it?" The orange guy fighter, Goku, Danny's mind supplied, though he had no idea how he knew that, was already walking toward him with an expression of curious excitement. "Hey there, I'm Goku. Did you just fall out of the sky? That was awesome. Are you here to train with Whis too?" What? No, I didn't mean to," Danny stammered, taking a step back. The energy coming off Goku was intense, but not hostile, just vast, like an ocean of power barely contained in human form. "Look, I don't know where I am or how I got here. 1 second I was in the ghost zone fighting Skulker, and the next thing I know there's this weird rift and..." ghost zone," Whis interrupted, his eyes gleaming with interest. He glided forward with impossible smoothness, circling Danny like a scientist examining a fascinating specimen. "How intriguing. And you are?" "Danny Fenton." He powered down instinctively, the twin rings of light passing over his body as he transformed back to his human form. Black hair replaced white, blue eyes instead of green, and his hazmat suit shifted to simple jeans and a white t-shirt with a red oval. "I'm just trying to get back home to..." "Fascinating." Whis' staff was suddenly inches from Danny's face, a glowing orb at its tip pulsing with light. "You transformed, but you're still the same being. Not a shapeshifter, not a body swap. You simply exist in two states simultaneously. Lord Beerus, you must see this." Beerus yawned, showing sharp fangs, but padded closer with feline grace. "What am I looking at, Whis? Some weakling with a party trick?" "Not quite." Whis tapped his staff thoughtfully. "This child's energy signature is split. Half of him reads as a living mortal, the other half reads as deceased. He exists in a quantum state between life and death." The god of destruction's eyes widened slightly, the first sign of genuine interest crossing his features. "That's impossible. Mortals are alive or they're dead. No, there is no in-between." "Yeah, well, tell that to the portal accident that killed me while bringing me back to life," Danny said, uncomfortable with being discussed like a science project. He transformed again, going ghost to prove his point. Half ghost, half human. It's a whole thing. Now, if you could just point me toward the nearest dimensional portal, or, I don't know, a magic wish-granting dragon or something, I'll get out of your hair and... "Wish-granting dragon?" Goku's eyes lit up. "You mean like Shenron? Do you know about the Dragon Balls?" Danny blinked. "I was joking, but wait, are you saying that's actually a thing here?" "Oh, this gets better and better," Beerus said, a smile spreading across his face that made Danny's flight instinct kick into overdrive. "A being who shouldn't exist dropped into my lap right when I'm bored. Whis, I'm suddenly glad you woke me. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, smash that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. The adventure continues." Whis smiled serenely. "Shall we invite our guest inside for tea? I believe we have much to discuss, young Danny Fenton." Danny looked between the three impossibly powerful beings, his ghost sense still buzzing warnings, and realized with sinking certainty that getting home wasn't going to be as simple as finding the nearest portal. Not by a long shot. The interior of Beerus's planet temple was surprisingly mundane. Cushions, a low table, and decorations that suggested someone with expensive tastes and a love of luxury. Danny sat cross-legged on a cushion, still in ghost form because transforming back felt like admitting vulnerability, while Whis served tea with the practiced grace of someone who'd done this 10,000 times. Goku had already demolished 3 plates of fish and was working on a 4th, seemingly unfazed by Danny's existential crisis. Beerus reclined on his cushion like the cat he resembled, golden eyes never leaving Danny's face. "So let me get this straight," Danny said, accepting a teacup he wasn't sure he should drink from. "You're a god of destruction. Your job is literally to blow up planets." "When they displease me, yes," Beerus said, and examining his claws casually. "Or when the food is disappointing, or when the mortals grow too numerous and upset the universal balance. Really, the reasons vary. And you," Danny turned to Whis, "are an angel, actual angel, who trains gods." "Attendant to the god of destruction, to be precise," Whis corrected with a smile. "I ensure Lord Beerus doesn't destroy everything on a whim, teach him to control his power, and occasionally rewind time when things get out of hand. Standard angelic duties." "Right. Standard." Danny's head was spinning, and Goku here is just... What, a superpowered alien who fights gods for fun? Pretty much, Goku said cheerfully through a mouthful of fish. I'm a scion from planet Vegeta. Well, I grew up on Earth, but I'm technically an alien. I can turn into a super scion. And I've been training with Whis to get even stronger. You should spar with me sometime. I want to see what those ghost powers can do. Danny choked on his tea. Spar? With you? Did you not see how hard I hit the ground when I landed? I'm pretty sure you could sneeze and put me through a mountain. He's not wrong, Whis observed, his staff glowing softly. The orb at its tip displayed Danny's image surrounded by numerical data that shifted constantly. By our standards, Danny's physical power is quite limited. In raw combat strength, I'd estimate him at perhaps 100 units of battle power. In his ghost form, 100. Beerus snorted. Raditz had a power level over 1,200 when he first came to Earth, and he was considered garbage even by low-class Scion standards. Hey, Danny protested, green energy crackling around his fists. I've fought plenty of powerful ghosts. I once beat a reality-warping genie, stopped a ghost king who could control all spirits, and saved the entire world from an asteroid. I'm not exactly weak where I come from. Where you come from, Whis repeated thoughtfully. But here, young Danny, the scale is quite different. Goku, in his base form, without any transformations, could destroy this entire planet with a concentrated energy blast. Lord Beerus could destroy this solar system by tapping his fingernail on that table. The casual way Whis said it made Danny's blood run cold. He'd fought powerful enemies, sure. Pariah Dark had been tough, and Dan Phantom, his evil future self, had nearly destroyed everything. But planet-destroying power, solar system-busting attacks, that was beyond anything he'd encountered. However, Whis continued, his tone brightening. Your abilities are quite unique. Show us this intangibility you attempted earlier. Danny frowned. It didn't really work when I tried it coming in. Everything felt weird. Because you were phasing through matter infused with divine energy, Whis explained. This planet exists in a realm adjacent to the mortal universe. The very grass here contains traces of godly ki. Your intangibility allows you to phase through normal matter, but ki, life energy, can still affect you. Okay, so what's ki exactly? Danny asked. You keep saying that word. Goku perked up, always eager to talk about fighting. Ki is the energy in all living things. You can sense it, control it, and use it to make yourself stronger or shoot energy blasts. Here, watch. He held out his palm. A sphere of blue-white energy formed, crackling with power that made the air vibrate. The sheer concentration of force in that small ball made Danny's ghost sense scream. Goku could probably vaporize a city block with that casual demonstration. Everyone has ki, Goku continued, letting the energy dissipate. Humans, aliens, even gods. You train to control it, and the stronger your ki, the stronger you are. Can you sense it? Try focusing on my energy. Danny closed his eyes, trying to extend his ghost sense the way he did when hunting spirits. He felt something. A massive presence, like standing next to Goku, was like standing next to a bonfire. But it wasn't the cold ectoplasmic energy he was used to. This was warm, alive, vital. I can feel something, Danny admitted. But it's not like sensing ghosts, so this is different. That's because you're not using Kai sense, Whis said. You're using whatever supernatural awareness your ghost nature provides. Similar, but not identical. Tell me, Danny, what exactly are your abilities? Danny listed them off. Intangibility, invisibility, flight, ecto-energy blasts, enhanced strength and durability in ghost form, ice powers, his ghostly whale sonic attack, overshadowing, the ability to possess and control other beings, and duplication. Beerus's ears perked up at possession. You can control other living beings. Yeah, but I don't do it often," Danny said quickly, not liking the gleam in the destroyer's eyes. "It's kind of a violation of free will, you know. I only use it in emergencies." "Fascinating," Whis murmured. "An ability we've never encountered in Universe 7. Mental manipulation exists. I, 最近sirs." "Don't know," Danny admitted. "Never really pushed the limits. Usually I'm fighting ghosts who can do the same thing to me, so we kind of cancel each other out." "We should test that," Goku said excitedly. "Try to possess me." "What?" "No, I just said I don't like using it on people. But it would be interesting to see if your ability could work on someone with God Ki," Whis said thoughtfully. "Goku has been training with divine energy. Your possession might fail entirely, or it might succeed in unexpected ways. Science requires experimentation." Danny looked at the three expectant faces and sighed. This was his life now, apparently. Sitting in a god's house, being asked to possess super-powered aliens for science. "Fine," he said, standing up. "But just for a second, okay, Goku? And if it feels wrong or dangerous, I'm pulling out immediately." "Sure thing." Goku stood as well, grinning. "This is gonna be cool." Danny took a breath he didn't technically need and reached out with his overshadowing power. His body went transparent, becoming pure ectoplasmic energy as he shot forward toward Goku's chest and bounced off like he'd hit a rubber wall. "Ow!" Danny rematerialized, rubbing his head. What the heck? It was like trying to overshadow a brick wall. "Your ectoplasm," Whis observed, "is a form of spiritual energy, but Goku's ki is life energy that permeates every cell of his body. The two energies are fundamentally incompatible, so you'd need to either overpower his ki with your ectoplasm, which, given your current strength, is impossible, or find a way to harmonize the two energies." "Harmonize?" Danny frowned. "You mean like learn to use ki myself?" "Precisely." Whis clapped his hands together. "If you could learn to sense and manipulate ki, your ectoplasmic abilities might merge with it, creating something entirely new. A hybrid power unique to your half-alive, half-dead nature." Beerus yawned, showing sharp teeth. "That's assuming he survives long enough to learn. King Yemma is probably having fits about a living ghost wandering around. The afterlife has rules, you know." "Who's King Yemma?" Danny asked warily. "The judge of the dead," Whis explained. "All souls pass through his desk when they die. He determines whether they go to heaven, hell, or get reincarnated. Your existence, simultaneously alive and dead, is probably triggering every alarm in his bureaucracy right now." As if on cue, Whis's staff began to glow. A holographic image appeared above it, showing a massive red-skinned Oni sitting behind an enormous desk, looking distinctly agitated. "Whis!" the figure boomed. "I'm detecting an impossible energy signature in your vicinity, a soul that reads as both living and deceased. Explain." Whis smiled serenely. "Ah, King Yemma. Perfect timing. Allow me to introduce Danny Fenton, a visitor from another dimension who exists in a rather unique state of being." King Yemma's eyes narrowed. "That's not possible. I want him brought to my desk for judgment immediately." "I don't think so," Beerus said lazily, though his voice carried an edge of warning. "The boy is on my planet, which means he's under my jurisdiction. If I want to keep an amusing anomaly around, that's my prerogative as a destroyer." Danny watched the two cosmic bureaucrats stare each other down through the hologram and realized something important. He'd somehow become a political issue between the afterlife and a god of destruction. His day just kept getting better. The holographic argument between Beerus and King Yemma continued for another 5 minutes before Whis politely ended the transmission, leaving Danny sitting on a cushion trying to process the fact that he'd just become a cosmic jurisdictional dispute. So, Danny said slowly, the literal judge of the dead wants to, what, put me on trial for being half dead? Not a trial, exactly, Whis said, pouring more tea. More of an administrative classification. King Yemma maintains the records of all souls in Universe 7. Your presence creates something of a filing problem. I'm a filing problem for the afterlife, Danny muttered. Great, that's going on my headstone. Here lies Danny Fenton, too confusing for death. Goku laughed. Don't worry about it. I've died twice and came back both times. The afterlife isn't so bad. I got to train with King Kai and learn the Kaioken technique. Plus, you can come back with the Dragon Balls if you die for real. You've died. Twice. Danny stared at him. And you're just cool with that? Well, the first time I sacrificed myself to stop my brother Raditz, Goku said, counting on his fingers. And the second time I died fighting Cell to save the Earth. But both times I got to train in Otherworld and come back stronger. Death is just another training opportunity. Danny's brain tried to process the casual way Goku discussed his own deaths and failed. In his world, death was final. The ghosts he fought were echoes, spirits, not the actual people who died. But here, there was an actual structured afterlife with training grounds and resurrection options. This universe is insane, Danny said. You're just now realizing that, Beerus asked, amused. Whis, show him the basics. I want to know if this half-ghost can learn Kai control or if he's just an interesting curiosity. As you wish, Lord Beerus. Whis stood, gesturing for Danny to follow. Come, young Danny. Let's see what you're capable of. They moved outside to a flat area on the tiny planet's curved surface. Goku followed eagerly, always excited to watch training. Beerus remained behind, but Danny could feel those golden eyes watching from the temple doorway. Now then, Whis began, his staff resting across his shoulders. Before we discuss ki control, I'd like to understand your current abilities better. You mentioned enhanced strength in your ghost form. How much stronger are you compared to your human state? Maybe 3 or 4 times stronger, Danny estimated. He transformed, the familiar cold energy of the transformation washing over him. I can lift a car pretty easily like this, punch through brick walls, that kind of thing. Whis nodded. And your energy blasts. These ectoblasts you mentioned. Show me. Danny raised his hands, forming a sphere of crackling green energy between his palms. It was one of his most basic attacks, something he could do without thinking. He fired it at a nearby rock, which exploded into dust. Interesting, Whis said. The energy has properties similar to Ki, but the signature is quite different. Colder, more static. Goku, show him a basic ki blast for comparison. Goku held out one hand casually. Blue-white energy formed instantly, a crackling with power that made the air shimmer. He fired it at a much larger boulder, which didn't just explode, it vaporized completely, leaving a small crater in the planet's surface. The difference in power was staggering. Danny's ectoblast had been like a firecracker. Goku's casual ki blast was a stick of dynamite. Don't feel bad, Goku said, seeing Danny's expression. I've been training since I was a kid. Plus, I've had lots of really strong teachers. You just need the right training and you'll get way stronger. The Scion is correct, Whis said. Raw power isn't everything. Technique, control, and efficiency matter greatly. Tell me, Danny, when you use your ectoplasmic energy, where does it come from? Danny frowned. I don't know exactly. It's just part of being half ghost. The energy is in my core, I guess. That's the part of me that's dead generates it. Fascinating. So it's not life energy like ki, but death energy. Ectoplasm, as you call it. Whis tapped his chin thoughtfully. That creates an interesting question. You're simultaneously alive and dead, yes? So theoretically, you should be able to access both life energy and death energy. I've never thought about it like that, Danny admitted. Few would, Whis said. In this universe, life and death are separate states. You're either alive, generating ki, or you're dead and become a soul with spiritual energy. But you exist as both. Your living half should be capable of generating ki just like any mortal. So I could learn to use both? Ecto energy and Kai? In theory, yes, though it will require considerable training. Whis walked in a slow circle around Danny, his staff tapping rhythmically. First, you need to learn to sense ki properly. Close your eyes, Danny. Don't use your ghost sense. Try to feel the energy of living things around you. Danny closed his eyes, focusing. At first, he felt nothing but his own ectoplasmic core, cold and familiar. But then, slowly, he became aware of warmth. Two blazing suns of energy, Goku and Whis. And farther away, the nuclear furnace that was Beerus. I feel heat, Danny said. It's different from ghost sense. That's cold, like detecting temperature drops. This is warm, alive. Excellent, Whis said. That's Kai sense awakening. Now try to feel your own energy. Not your ectoplasm, but your life force. You're still half alive after all. Danny turned his awareness inward, past the cold core of his ghost half, deeper into his human side. There, faint and all like a candle next to the bonfire of his ectoplasm, but present. Warmth, life energy, his Kai. I found it, Danny breathed. It's small, but it's there. Of course it is, Whis said gently. You're alive, Danny. Half of you is still a living, breathing teenager. That part has ki, just like any human. You've simply never learned to access it because your ghost powers were so much more obvious. Danny opened his eyes, mind reeling. He'd spent 2 years thinking of himself as half ghost, half human, dead and alive. But he'd never considered that his living half might have its own power source separate from ectoplasm. All this time he'd had ki and never knew it. Now comes the difficult part, Whis continued. You need to learn to draw on that ki, strengthen it, and control it. Most humans train for years to achieve basic ki manipulation. Goku started as a child and has been refining his control for decades. But I'm not most humans, Danny said, determination flaring. I learned to control ghost powers in a few months. I can do this. That's the spirit, Goku cheered. Here, I'll help. The first step is learning to feel your ki moving through your body. Try this. Goku dropped into a wide stance, hands cupped at his side. Energy began to glow between his palms, growing brighter as he focused. You gather your ki here, at your center. Feel it flowing through your body like water. Then you concentrate it, shape it, and release it. Like this, Kamehameha. The beam of blue-white energy shot from Goku's hands into the sky, a column of pure force that lit up the vacuum of space. Danny felt the power of it in his bones, the sheer, concentrated will behind the attack. That's the Kamehameha wave, Goku explained, straightening up. Master Roshi taught it to me. It's all about control and focus. You try gathering your ki like that. Danny mimicked Goku's stance, feeling awkward. He cupped his hands at his side and tried to reach for that tiny spark of ki he'd sensed. It was like trying to grab smoke. The moment he focused on it, it slipped away. Don't force it, Whis advised. Let it flow naturally. You're used to commanding your ectoplasm like a tool, but ki responds to your state of being. Calm your mind. Danny took a breath. In his ghost form, he didn't need to breathe, but the action was meditative. He let his awareness sink into that warm spark and simply observed it. Didn't grab, didn't command, just felt. The ki responded, flickering like a candle flame. Small, but growing slightly stronger as he acknowledged it. That's it, Whis said encouragingly. Now try to move it. Guide it through your body to your hands. It was agonizingly slow. Danny felt the ki trickling through pathways he'd never known existed, moving like molasses compared to how quickly he could summon ecto-energy. But it moved. Warm, living energy pooling in his palms. "I've got something," Danny said, opening his eyes. The energy in his hands was barely visible, a faint golden shimmer compared to the blazing power Goku had displayed. But it was there, his ki manifested for the first time. "Excellent first attempt," Whis said, genuinely pleased. "That would take most humans weeks to achieve. Your ghost powers have given you an instinctive understanding of energy manipulation, and now you simply need to build up your ki reserves through training." Danny let the energy dissipate, feeling oddly exhausted. Using ki was draining in a way ecto-blasts never were. "How long will it take to get as strong as Goku?" "Years," Whis said bluntly. "Possibly decades. Goku is a Saiyan, a warrior race with natural combat instincts and the ability to grow stronger after every battle. Plus, he's trained under multiple masters across his lifetime. You're starting from scratch with a much smaller natural ki pool." "But," Whis added, seeing Danny's expression fall, "you have advantages Goku doesn't. Your ghost abilities give you tactical options no ki user possesses. Intangibility, invisibility, possession. These are powers that can turn the tide of battle regardless of raw strength. And if you can learn to merge your ectoplasm with ki," he smiled mysteriously, "well, that could create something quite unique indeed." Danny looked at his hands, one flickering with faint golden ki, the other crackling with green ectoplasm. Two types of energy, two halves of his existence. Maybe being half ghost in a universe of Kai warriors wasn't a weakness. Maybe it was an opportunity to become something neither universe had ever seen before. "Okay," Danny said, determination hardening in his chest. "Teach me. I want to learn everything." Beerus's voice carried from the temple doorway, amused and slightly impressed. "The half-ghost has spirit. Very well, Whis. Train him. I want to see if this anomaly can become something interesting." Goku pumped his fist. "Yes, training partner. This is gonna be great, Danny. But wait until you try the gravity chamber. It's gonna be tough, but so worth it." Danny smiled despite himself. He was trapped in another dimension, being trained by an angel to fight on a planetary scale, under the watchful eye of a god of destruction who could erase him on a whim. But somehow, for the first time since falling through that portal, he felt like maybe, just maybe, he could find his place in this insane universe after all. The gravity chamber was, in Danny's opinion, a form of torture masquerading as a training facility. "It's only set to 10 times Earth's gravity," Goku said cheerfully, doing one-armed push-ups like it was nothing. "You'll get used to it. I trained at 100 times gravity when I was getting ready to fight Frieza." Danny was currently face down on the floor, every muscle screaming. In his ghost form, he technically didn't have muscles, but the gravity was affecting his ectoplasmic structure the same way. It was like wearing a suit made of lead while being pressed by a giant hand. "Can't breathe," Danny gasped. "You don't need to breathe in ghost form," Whis observed from the doorway, perfectly unaffected by the gravity. Angels, apparently, existed outside such mundane concerns. "You're psychosomatically responding to the pressure, except that your ghost body doesn't require oxygen and the sensation will pass." Danny focused on that truth. He was dead. Half dead, anyway. Ghosts didn't breathe. It was all in his head. Slowly, the crushing sensation in his chest eased. He pushed himself up on trembling arms. "Better," Whis said approvingly. "Now transform to your human form." "What? Why would I?" Danny started to protest, but Wiss's expression suggested it wasn't a request. He let the transformation wash over him, becoming fully human. The gravity immediately felt different. Still crushing. Still horrible, but in a more physical way. His muscles strained, his lungs worked hard to pull in air, his heart pounded. This was affecting his living body, not his ectoplasmic form. Your ghost form shields you from physical laws to some degree, Whis explained. But your human form is subject to them fully. If you want to build Kai, life energy, you need to strengthen your living body. That means training as a human, not as a ghost. This is insane, Danny wheezed, managing to get to his hands and knees. I can barely move. Goku started training in increased gravity as a child, Whis said. He adapted because he had no choice. You'll do the same. Now, try to sense your ki again. Feel how the strain on your body affects your life energy. Danny closed his eyes, searching for that warm spark. Under the pressure of 10 times gravity, his Kai felt brighter. Like a muscle being worked, it was responding to the strain by burning hotter. Not stronger yet, but definitely more active. I feel it, Danny said. It's like my ki is trying to compensate for the gravity. Exactly, Goku said, finally standing up and walking over. When you push your body, your Kai grows to meet the challenge. That's how training works. You stress your limits, and your energy adapts. For Saiyans, we get even stronger after nearly dying. It's called a Zenkai boost, but anyone can grow stronger through hard training. Near-death experiences make Saiyans stronger, Danny asked incredulously. That's the most anime thing I've ever heard, and I fight ghosts for a living. Goku laughed. What's anime? Before Danny could explain, the gravity chamber door opened again. Beerus padded in, looking annoyed. Whis, we have another visitor. The Supreme Kai wants to discuss the dimensional anomaly. Apparently, King Yemma filed a formal complaint. Whis sighed. Lord Beerus, you're not going to destroy the Supreme Kai for bothering you, are you? I'm considering it, Beerus said darkly. But I suppose we should hear him out. Bring the half-ghost. This concerns him. The gravity chamber deactivated, and Danny nearly floated off the ground as normal gravity returned. He transformed back to ghost form, his body still aching from the strain. They emerged from the chamber to find a figure waiting on Beerus's planet, a short, purple-skinned being with a white mohawk, wearing Kai robes and looking distinctly nervous. Lord Beerus, the Supreme Kai said, bowing deeply. I apologize for the intrusion, but we have a serious problem. The dimensional barrier between universes has been weakened by this individual's arrival. He pointed at Danny. If we don't address it, more rifts could open, potentially allowing beings from other dimensions to cross over uncontrolled. And that's bad because, Beerus asked. Because we don't know what might come through, Supreme Kai said, exasperated. This boy appears relatively harmless, but what if something hostile crosses over? What if Zeno-sama notices and decides the dimensional instability warrants erasing our universe? Danny felt ice form in his stomach. Wait, you're saying my being here could get this entire universe destroyed? Not necessarily, Whis interjected calmly. But the Supreme Kai raises a valid concern. Your arrival did create a tear in the dimensional fabric. We should investigate how stable it is and whether it's repairing itself naturally. Can you send me back? Danny asked hopefully. I don't want to cause a universe-ending crisis. I've got my own dimension to protect. We could attempt to force you back through a rift, Supreme Kai said, but without understanding how you arrived, we might simply create more instability. The safer approach would be to let the dimensional tear heal naturally and find another method of return. How long would that take? Danny asked. Months, possibly years, Whis said. Dimensional barriers are quite resilient, but a tear of the magnitude you created will take considerable time to mend fully. Years. Danny's voice cracked. I can't stay here for years. My family, my friends, they'll think I'm dead. Or worse, they'll come looking for me and get into their own trouble with ghosts. Goku put a hand on Danny's shoulder. Hey, it'll be okay. We'll figure something out. Maybe we can use the Dragon Balls. Shenron can grant wishes. Maybe he can send you home. The Eternal Dragon's power is considerable, Supreme Kai said doubtfully, but dimensional travel between entirely separate realities. I'm not certain even Shenron could accomplish that. Perhaps the Super Dragon Balls might have sufficient power, but gathering those requires crossing Universe 6 and Universe 7, and even then, we'd need Xeno-Sama's permission to use them. Danny's hope deflated. So I'm stuck. Not stuck, Whis corrected gently. Temporarily relocated. Think of it as an extended training journey. You wanted to learn Ki control, didn't you? Well, now you have expert teachers and time to master abilities you never imagined possible. But my family... Time flows differently between dimensions, Supreme Kai said. It's possible that while you spend months or years here, and only days or weeks pass in your home reality, or the reverse could be true. Dimensional temporal mechanics are imprecise at best. That's not reassuring, Danny muttered. Beerus yawned. Regardless, the boy's here now. Supreme Kai, you can investigate the dimensional tear, but the half-ghost stays on my planet. He's interesting, and I've decided I want to see what he becomes with proper training. If that interferes with your bureaucratic concerns, take it up with Xeno. Supreme Kai paled. Lord Beerus, I would never presume to... Good. Then we're done here. Beerus waved dismissively. Whis, I'm going back to sleep. Wake me if something actually important happens. The rest of you, keep the noise down. The god of destruction padded back into his temple, leaving Supreme Kai looking frustrated but unwilling to argue further. As he turned to Danny, his expression softening slightly. I'm sorry, young one. I know this isn't the situation you wanted. But if you must remain here, training with Whis is perhaps the best possible outcome. He's the finest teacher in Universe 7. I'll take care of the dimensional investigation, Supreme Kai continued. Perhaps I can find a way to accelerate the healing process or create a stable portal for your return. In the meantime, he hesitated. Try not to worry your family too much. I'm sure they're strong people if they raised someone with your courage. With that, the Supreme Kai vanished in a flash of light, teleporting away. Danny floated there, feeling the weight of his situation settle over him, stuck in another dimension. Months or years before he could go home. And his parents were probably tearing apart the ghost zone looking for him. Sam and Tucker would be organizing search parties. Jazz would be going crazy with worry. Hey, Goku said, his voice uncharacteristically serious. I know how it feels to be separated from people you care about. When I was training with King Kai after dying the first time, I couldn't see my friends or family for a whole year. It was hard, but I got through it because I knew they believed in me. Your family believes in you too, right? Yeah, Danny said quietly. They do. Then train hard, get stronger, and when you go back, you'll be able to protect them even better than before. Goku's grin returned. Plus, you'll have awesome stories to tell. Hey guys, I trained with gods and learned to shoot energy blasts. That's pretty cool. Despite everything, Danny smiled. So Goku's optimism was infectious, even in the face of dimensional exile. All right, Danny said, transformation rings flickering as he shifted back to human form. If I'm stuck here, I might as well make the most of it. Whis, what's next in the training? Excellent attitude, Whis said approvingly. Next, we're going to work on your Kai reserves. Your life energy is currently quite small. Natural for a human, but insufficient for serious combat. We'll need to expand it through meditation, physical training, and energy circulation exercises. And sparring, Goku added. Lots of sparring. Nothing builds ki faster than actual fighting. Perhaps we should wait until Danny can survive more than 3 seconds in the gravity chamber before we have him spar with you, Goku, Whis said dryly. Oh, right. Yeah, we'll start slow, Goku agreed. Maybe just dodging exercises first. Danny looked between his new teachers, an angel who could manipulate time and a scion who died twice and fought gods, and felt something unexpected. excitement. Yes, he was trapped. Yes, he missed home desperately. But he was also being given an opportunity no one from his universe had ever had. He was going to learn from the best fighters in existence. He was going to merge ghost powers with ki, creating something entirely new. And when he finally made it home, he'd be strong enough to protect everyone he cared about from anything the ghost zone could throw at them. "Okay," Danny said, dropping into the ready stance Goku had shown him. "Let's do this. I'm ready to start training for real." Whis smiled, his staff beginning to glow. "Then let us begin. By the time we're finished, young Danny Fenton, Hans, you'll be a warrior worthy of Universe 7's reputation." In the temple doorway, Beerus watched with one eye open, a small smile playing at his lips. The half-ghost had potential. This might actually be entertaining after all. 3 weeks of training with Whis had taught Danny several important truths about the Dragon Ball universe. First, everything was measured in power levels, even though nobody actually used scouters anymore. Goku had explained that fighters eventually got so strong that scouters exploded trying to read them, so everyone just learned to sense ki instead. Second, light training in this universe would be considered superhuman torture in his. The gravity chamber at 10 times Earth's gravity was apparently the beginner setting. Goku trained at 100 times. Vegeta, Goku's rival, who Danny hadn't met yet, allegedly trained at 500 times. Third, his ghost powers were simultaneously his greatest advantage and his biggest handicap. Danny floated above Beerus's planet in ghost form, trying once again to merge his ectoplasmic energy with his ki. Whis observed from below, staff in hand, while Goku practiced his own forms nearby. A kata of movements so fast they blurred. "You're compartmentalizing again," Whis called up. "You're treating your ghost energy and your life energy as separate tanks to draw from. They're part of the same being, Danny. You need to stop thinking of yourself as half and half." "Easy for you to say," Danny muttered, green ectoplasm crackling around his left hand, while faint golden ki flickered around his right. "You're not a walking contradiction." "Actually, I'm an angel serving a god of destruction," Whis said mildly. "My entire existence is a contradiction. Angels are meant to be neutral observers, yet I train Lord Beerus to be more destructive. I can reverse time, yet I'm forbidden from interfering too directly in mortal affairs. Contradiction is the nature of existence, Danny. You simply need to embrace yours." Danny descended, landing on the curved surface of the planet. He'd gotten used to the weird gravity here. It pulled toward the center of the tiny celestial body from all directions, which meant up changed depending on where you stood. It had been disorienting at first, but his flight powers made it easier to adapt. "When I transform," Danny said, thinking aloud, "I'm not actually changing into something else. I'm just shifting which half of me is dominant. Ghost form, human form, but it's all me." "Precisely," Whis said, pleased. "You're one being with two states of existence. The energy should flow between them freely." Danny closed his eyes, feeling both types of energy within him. The cold, familiar ectoplasm of his core. The warm, nas-growing ki of his living body. Separate, but connected. He was the connection, the bridge between life and death. He reached for both energies simultaneously. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, pain exploded through Danny's entire being as the two energies collided inside him. Ectoplasm and ki, cold and hot, death and life, trying to occupy the same space. Danny screamed, dropping to his knees as his form flickered wildly between ghost and human. "Danny!" Goku stopped his kata, rushing over, but Whis held up a hand, stopping him. "Wait, look closely." The flickering was slowing. Danny's form stabilized into something strange, half his body in ghost form, white hair and glowing green eyes, the other half human, black hair and blue eyes. The energies weren't mixing yet, but they were coexisting. "Breathe," Whis instructed. No, don't fight it. Accept both halves simultaneously. Danny gasped, a purely psychological reflex, and forced himself to stop resisting. The pain began to fade. His form stabilized fully, still split down the middle like some kind of Two-Face effect. "Whoa," Goku breathed. "That's so cool. You look like a fusion that didn't quite work." "How do you feel?" Whis asked, studying Danny intently. "Weird," Danny said honestly. His voice came out doubled, like two people speaking in unison, one his normal human voice, one the echoing, ghostly tone. "I can feel both energies, but they're still separate. They're just not fighting anymore." "Excellent progress," Whis said. "You've achieved the first step. Coexistence. The next step is harmony, where the energies begin to complement rather than conflict. And finally, our synthesis, where they merge into something entirely new." "How long did that take you to figure out?" Goku asked curiously. "I didn't figure anything out," Whis said. "This is unprecedented. No one has ever attempted to merge death energy with life energy before, because no one has ever existed in both states simultaneously. Danny is literally inventing a new form of power as we speak." Danny looked down at his hands. One ghostly white with green energy crackling around it, one tan with golden key flickering. He tried to throw a punch, and both hands moved in sync. The dual nature was actually kind of incredible once you got past the initial weirdness. "Can you access your other abilities in this state?" Whis asked. Danny concentrated, trying to go intangible. His ghost half phased out while his human half remained solid, now creating a bizarre, partial transparency. Sort of. Try your ice powers." Danny focused, summoning his ice core, the power he'd absorbed from the ghost frostbite. His ghost hand erupted with blue-white ice crystals that spread up his arm, but his human hand remained normal, ki still flickering around it. "Fascinating," Whis murmured. "Your ghost abilities only affect your ghost half in this state. What about ki techniques? Try forming a ki blast with your human hand." Danny concentrated on his right hand, the human one. He gathered his kai, still small, still weak compared to Goku's ocean of power, but growing daily. A small sphere of golden energy formed in his palm. "Now," Whis said, excitement creeping into his usually calm voice. "Try firing both hands at once, Ectoblast and Kai Blast simultaneously." Danny raised both hands, with ectoplasm in his left, ki in his right. He fired. The Ectoblast shot out as normal, green and crackling with ghostly energy. The Ki Blast followed a split second later, golden and warm. They were traveling on parallel trajectories toward the same boulder when something unexpected happened. The two energy blasts attracted each other. They curved in mid-air, spiraling together like binary stars. Where they touched, the energies began to merge, green and gold swirling into a new color. Not quite either, but something in between. Teal, cyan. The combined blast hit the boulder and detonated with far more force than either blast alone should have produced. Rock shattered, and a crater 10 feet wide opened up in the planet's surface. "Whoa!" Danny and Goku said simultaneously. Whis' eyes gleamed. "Did you see that? The energies are naturally attracted to each other because they're both yours. Given time and proximity, they want to merge. That's the key, Danny. You don't force the merger. You simply allow the energies to find each other." Danny stared at his hands, mind reeling. He'd just accidentally created a hybrid attack combining ghost powers and Kai. It had been unstable, uncontrolled, but it had worked. "Try it again," Goku urged. "That was awesome." Danny raised his hands, but the moment he tried to split his form again, exhaustion hit him like a truck. The dual state collapsed, and he reverted to full human form, falling to his hands and knees. "And there's the limit," Whis observed. "Maintaining both states simultaneously drains you considerably. else you'll need to build up your stamina before you can hold that form for extended periods." "How long was I in it?" Danny asked, breathing hard. "Approximately 3 minutes," Whis said. "Not bad for a first attempt. Most fusion techniques can only be maintained for 30 minutes, and those involve 2 separate beings combining. You're essentially fusing with yourself." "I need a break," Danny gasped, transforming to ghost form to recover. Oddly, being in full ghost mode actually felt restful after the strain of the split state. "Take 10 minutes, Whis said. "Then we'll work on your intangibility problem. I have a theory about that." Danny floated over to where Goku was sitting, the Saiyan offering him a bottle of water. Danny took it gratefully, transforming back to human to drink. The cool liquid was heaven. "That was really cool." "Danny," Goku said enthusiastically, "you're learning way faster than I thought you would. It took me months to learn basic ki control, and you're already mixing different energy types." "I'm basically cheating," Danny admitted. "I've spent 2 years learning to control ectoplasm. It's not that different from controlling Kai, just colder and more ghosty." "Still counts as skill," Goku said. "Hey, you know what would be really useful? If you could learn to sense ki better. Right now, you can feel it when you concentrate, but you're not constantly aware of it like fighters are. Want me to teach you a trick?" "Sure," Danny said, always willing to learn. "Okay, so the way Master Roshi taught me was to close your eyes and just listen," Goku said, demonstrating. "But don't listen with your ears, listen with your whole body. The Kai isn't just in one place, it's everywhere. In the air, in the ground, in living things. You're always swimming in a sea of energy. You just have to learn to notice it." Danny closed his eyes, trying to follow Goku's advice. At first, he felt nothing but his own energy. But then, slowly, he became aware of something. A background hum he'd never noticed before. It was like realizing you'd been hearing white noise your entire life and only just now recognized it as sound. "I feel something," Danny said. "It's faint, but it's there, like static in the air." "That's it," Goku said excitedly. "That static is all the tiny sources of Kai around you. Grass, insects, microorganisms, everything alive has ki. Now try to pick out the big sources, me and Whis." Danny focused, filtering through the background static. There, 2 massive presences standing out like bonfires in the dark. Goku's ki was warm, enthusiastic, constantly moving like flames dancing. Whis' ki was strange, vast but perfectly controlled. Still, but somehow suggesting infinite motion beneath the surface. "I can feel you both," Danny said, opening his eyes. "Goku, you're like a bonfire. Whis, you're like an ocean pretending to be a puddle." Whis laughed delightedly. "What an apt description. Yes, angels learn to suppress our power to immense degrees. What you're sensing is merely a fraction of my energy." "That's terrifying," Danny said honestly. "Also accurate," Whis agreed cheerfully. "Now, let's work on your intangibility issue. I believe the problem is that you're trying to phase through matter, but Ki infuses matter in this universe. You're not phasing through rock, you're phasing through rock that contains life energy. So what do? Learn to phase through Ki itself," Whis said. "Or, more accurately, learn to make your ectoplasm permeable to Ki while remaining intangible to matter. It's a refinement of your existing ability." Danny groaned. "That sounds incredibly complicated." "Most worthwhile things are," Whis said. "Shall we begin?" For the next hour, Danny practiced phasing through increasingly ki-dense objects. First, grass and small plants, then larger rocks that Whis had deliberately infused with energy. Each time, Danny had to adjust his intangibility, learning to recognize the feel of ki and allow it to pass through him without disrupting his ghost form. It was frustrating work. Half the time, He'd solidify unexpectedly and slam face first into whatever he was trying to phase through. The other half, he'd phase through successfully, but feel drained afterward. "You're overthinking it," Whis finally said after Danny bounced off a key-charged boulder for the 10th time. "Intangibility is natural for you in ghost form, yes? You don't consciously control every molecule. You simply will yourself intangible, and your body obeys." "Yeah, but that doesn't work here," Danny said, rubbing his sore nose. "Because you're adding an extra step. You're trying to consciously filter out ki while staying intangible to matter. Instead, simply redefine what intangible means for you. Your body is half ghost, half alive. It already exists in a state that shouldn't be possible. You tell your ghost nature that ki is just another form of ectoplasm, energy that you can phase through as easily as walls." Danny frowned. "You want me to trick my own powers?" "I want you to expand your definition of what your powers can do," Whis corrected. "Abilities grow when we challenge our assumptions about them." Danny floated in front of the boulder again. He closed his eyes, reaching for his ghost core. Intangibility was his most basic power, one of the first he'd mastered. He'd phased through walls, floors, people, energy blasts. But he'd always thought of it as phasing through matter. What if he was thinking too small? What if intangibility wasn't about avoiding matter, but about existing in a state where nothing could touch him unless he wanted it to? Danny opened his eyes and flew forward. This time, when he hit the ki-infused boulder, he didn't bounce off. He slipped through it like it was mist, the energy passing around and through him without resistance. He emerged on the other side and stopped, hovering in shock. "I did it," he breathed. "Excellent," Whis clapped. "Now do it 99 more times until it's second nature." Danny groaned but smiled. This was his life now, training until impossible things became natural. But watching Goku cheer him on and seeing Whis' approving nod, he realized something. He was getting stronger, really stronger. Not just ghost-powered, but fundamentally more capable than he'd ever been. And if he could master this hybrid power, combining death energy and life energy, ghost powers and ki, maybe, just maybe, he could become strong enough to matter in this universe of gods and planet busters. And the adventure was just beginning. 6 weeks into training, and Danny had finally graduated from pathetically weak to merely inadequate by Dragon Ball standards. He could maintain 10 times gravity for a full hour now without collapsing. His ki reserves had grown from a candle flame to maybe a campfire. Still nothing compared to Goku's bonfire, but progress was progress. And he could phase through ki-infused objects about 70% of the time, which Whis said was remarkable advancement. Today's training was sparring practice. "Remember," Whis instructed from the sidelines, "Goku is going to suppress his power to approximately your level. The goal isn't to win, but to learn combat application of your abilities. Use your ghost powers creatively." Goku stretched, grinning. "This is gonna be fun. I promise I'll hold back enough that you don't, die or anything." "That's reassuring," Danny said dryly, dropping into a fighting stance. He'd learned basic martial arts forms from Whis. Nothing fancy, but enough to not look completely incompetent. He stayed in human form, ki flickering around his fists. Going ghost would be his ace in the hole. "Ready?" Goku asked. "As I'll ever..." Goku vanished. Danny barely had time to register the movement before a fist connected with his stomach. He doubled over, gasping, and then Goku was behind him, a light chop to the back, sending Danny face first into the grass. "Too slow," Goku called cheerfully. "You gotta sense where I'm moving, not just watch with your eyes." Danny rolled away from a stomp that cratered the ground, coming up in ghost form. Intangibility activated on instinct as Goku threw another punch. The fist passed through Danny's torso harmlessly. "There we go," Goku said. "Now you're thinking." But Goku adapted instantly. Instead of physical attacks, he cupped his hands. "Cut me!" Danny's eyes widened. He went invisible, shooting upward as the Kamehameha wave carved through the space he'd just occupied. The beam was tiny compared to Goku's real power, but it still would have vaporized Danny if it connected. "Nice dodge," Goku spun, tracking Danny's energy signature despite the invisibility. "But I can still sense your Kai." Right. Danny kept forgetting that invisibility was useless against Kai sense. He needed a different approach. Danny split into two duplicates, both ghost forms, flanking Goku from different angles. He fired ectoblasts from both copies simultaneously. Goku blurred between the attacks, deflecting one with a key-charged palm strike and dodging the other. "Duplication, that's a new one. Tien does that too, but wait, which one's the real you?" Both were, technically. Danny had each duplicate fire another barrage, while the original him, still invisible, circled behind Goku. If he could just get close enough to try overshadowing. But Goku's combat instincts were absurd. The Saiyan spun at the last second, catching Danny's invisible wrist in an iron grip. "Gotcha, your Kai spiked when you tried to sneak up on me." Danny acted on pure instinct. Without thinking, desperate to escape the hold, he activated his overshadowing power. His ectoplasmic form shot forward, diving into Goku's body. For one terrible, disorienting moment, Danny felt two bodies simultaneously. His ghost form spreading through Goku's physical form, his consciousness brushing against something vast and warm and fundamentally alien. And then everything exploded. Danny found himself violently ejected, his ectoplasmic form hurtling backward through the air. He barely managed to stop himself before flying off the tiny planet entirely. When he looked back, Goku was on his hands and knees, shaking his head like he'd been stunned. "Whoa," Goku said, looking up with wide eyes. "What was that?" "I'm sorry," Danny called, flying back over. "I didn't mean to, it was instinct. Are you okay?" "I'm fine, but that was so weird." Goku stood up, brushing himself off. "For a second, I felt like someone else was trying to move my body. Is that your possession thing?" Whis was suddenly there, his usual calm expression replaced with intense interest. "Danny, I explain exactly what happened. I tried to overshadow him, possess his body, but I got kicked out almost immediately," Danny said, still shaken. "It felt like trying to hold onto a live wire. His ki just rejected me." "Fascinating," Whis murmured. "Your ectoplasm attempted to invade Goku's body, but his Kai automatically expelled you as a foreign entity. Did you sense anything while you were partially merged?" Danny hesitated. "Yeah, I felt his Kai from the inside. It was huge, like standing in the middle of an ocean. And there was something else. Instinct, maybe. Combat awareness. It was overwhelming." "You touched his battle experience," Whis said, eyes gleaming. "Even suppressed, Goku's body contains decades of combat knowledge stored in muscle memory and neural pathways. You weren't just possessing him, you were briefly connected to everything that makes him a warrior." "That's so cool," Goku said excitedly. "Can you try again? Maybe if I don't resist this time?" "Absolutely not," came a new voice. Everyone turned. Beerus stood in the temple doorway, his expression dark. "Whis, did the half-ghost just attempt to possess someone?" "It was an accident during sparring, Lord Beerus," Whis said quickly. "No harm done." "No harm?" Beerus walked forward, his presence suddenly oppressive. "Do you understand what an ability like that could mean if it fell into the wrong hands? Imagine Frieza with the power to steal bodies, or worse, what if someone possessed the half-ghost and gained access to that ability themselves?" Danny felt cold dread settle in his stomach. He hadn't thought about it that way. Overshadowing was dangerous back home, sure, but against normal humans and ghosts. Here, where people could destroy planets, the ability to steal someone's body was... I would never use it like that, Danny said firmly. I know how wrong possession is. I only use it in emergencies, and even then I hate doing it. Your intentions are irrelevant, Beerus said coldly. The ability exists. Others will want it. And if you can't control when you use it... His eyes narrowed. Perhaps it would be safer to simply destroy you now before you become a liability. Purple energy began to gather around Beerus's extended hand. Hakai energy, the power of destruction that could erase anything from existence. Lord Beerus, wait, Whis started. No. Danny transformed to ghost form, stepping protectively in front of Goku, even though the gesture was meaningless against a god of destruction. I can control it, I swear. It only happened because I panicked. I've been controlling my powers for 2 years. I just need to adapt them to this universe. Beerus paused, the destructive energy crackling. You're willing to stand against me, a god of destruction, for the sake of not using your abilities? I'm willing to stand up for what's right, Danny said, forcing himself not to shake. And I'm telling you I won't abuse my powers. That's not who I am. For a long moment, Beerus stared at Danny with those predatory golden eyes. Then, slowly, the Hakai energy dissipated. Brave, Beerus said, a hint of approval in his voice. Stupid, but brave. Very well, half-ghost. I'll allow you to continue existing, for now. But if I hear about you possessing people without permission, or if anyone else learns this ability from you, I will erase you so thoroughly that not even the Dragon Balls will remember you existed. Clear? Crystal clear, Danny said, relief flooding through him. Beerus turned to leave, then paused. Whis increased the difficulty of his training. If he's going to have abilities this dangerous, he'd better be strong enough to defend them. I want him at a level where possession becomes unnecessary, not his first resort. Understood, Lord Beerus, Whis said. As Beerus disappeared back into the temple, Danny let out a shaky breath. Did I just almost get erased from existence? Yes, Whis said simply. But you also impressed Lord Beerus, which is considerably harder to do. Standing your ground against a destroyer shows character. He respects that. I nearly died from fear, Danny admitted. Yet you stood anyway, Whis said. That's courage, Danny. Now, as Lord Beerus commanded, we need to accelerate your training. If possession is to remain in your arsenal, you need to master when and how you use it. No more accidents. Goku put a hand on Danny's shoulder. Hey, don't feel too bad. Beerus threatened to destroy Earth like 5 times when we first met. He's actually in a pretty good mood today. That was a good mood? Danny asked weakly. Yep. When he's really mad, he destroys planets before asking questions. Goku grinned. You did great standing up to him, though. Most people just panic and try to run. Danny looked at his hands, still shaking slightly with residual adrenaline. He'd just faced down a god who could erase him with a thought. And he'd survived because he'd refused to back down from his principles. Maybe he was adapting to this universe better than he thought. All right, Danny said, pushing down the fear and grabbing onto determination instead. What's next in training? And please tell me it doesn't involve almost dying again. Well, Whis said thoughtfully, we could work on merging your ectoplasm with Ki more thoroughly. You've achieved coexistence. Now we need harmony. That doesn't sound too dangerous, Danny said hopefully. Oh, it will likely be excruciating, Whis said cheerfully. Forcing 2 opposing energies into harmony usually involves significant pain as your body adjusts, but the results should be spectacular, Danny groaned. Of course it would hurt. Everything in this universe involved either pain, planet destruction, or both. But as Goku demonstrated an energy technique and Whis explained the theory behind Ki fusion, Danny felt that familiar determination rising. He'd come this far, survived gravity training, learned Ki control, faced a god of destruction, and was still standing. Whatever came next, he'd handle it, even if it hurt like hell. The breakthrough came during Danny's 9th week of training, completely by accident. He was in the gravity chamber, now set to 20 times Earth's gravity, which still felt like being crushed by an invisible hand, but was manageable. Whis had him practicing energy manipulation exercises, forming key spheres in one hand and ectoblasts in the other, trying to maintain both simultaneously without either energy destabilizing. Danny held his hands out, palms up. In his right hand, golden key swirled and flickered. In his left, green ectoplasm crackled. Keeping them separate and stable was like patting his head while rubbing his stomach, except with supernatural energy that could explode if he lost focus. Maintain the balance, Whis instructed. Don't let either energy dominate. Equal pressure or equal control. Sweat dripped down Danny's forehead. He was in human form for this exercise, which made the gravity even more brutal. His arms trembled from the effort of holding them up under 20 times normal weight, while also managing 2 different energy types. Now, Whis said, slowly bring your hands together. What? Danny's concentration wavered. The Ki sphere flickered. Don't question, just do, Whis said calmly. Bring your hands together until the energies touch. Slowly. Danny gritted his teeth and began moving his hands inward. The Ki and ectoplasm crackled more violently as they approached each other, like magnets of the same polarity resisting. His arms shook worse. The gravitational pressure combined with energy strain was pushing him to his absolute limit. Closer, the energies were inches apart now, sparking and hissing where their fields intersected. I can't, Danny gasped. You can, Whis said firmly. Stop thinking about them as separate. You are both alive and dead. These energies are both yours. Let them recognize each other. Danny squeezed his eyes shut, focusing everything on that single thought. Both energies were his. Life and death, Ki and ectoplasm, warm and cold, all him. He was the bridge. He was both. His hands came together. The impact should have been explosive. Instead, there was a moment of perfect crystalline silence. Danny opened his eyes and gasped. Between his pressed-together palms, the Ki and ectoplasm were merging. Not fighting, not repelling, merging. The green and gold energies spiraled together like a double helix, interweaving and combining into something new. The color shifted, becoming a brilliant teal cyan that pulsed with both warmth and cold simultaneously. Whis, Danny breathed. What is this? That, Whis said, and Danny could hear actual excitement in his voice. Is what I've been waiting for. You've achieved harmony. The energies aren't just coexisting, they're working together. How does it feel? Danny examined the energy carefully. It felt right in a way nothing had before. Not ghost power, not Ki, but something that was fundamentally both. The warm life force of Ki flowing through channels of cold ectoplasm, each one enhancing the other. It feels complete, Danny said, like I've been fighting with half my power this whole time and just now unlocked the rest. Excellent description. Now can you shape it? Use it like you would normal Ki or ectoplasm. Danny concentrated, trying to mold the hybrid energy. It responded eagerly, almost too eagerly, forming into a sphere that crackled with teal lightning. The sphere was larger than either his ectoblasts or Ki blasts had been separately, and it radiated more power than the sum of its parts. I think so, Danny said. It's responsive. Maybe even more than... The energy sphere detonated in his hands. The explosion threw Danny backward across the gravity chamber. He hit the wall hard enough to crack it despite the reinforced construction. The gravity chamber automatically shut down and Danny groaned, transforming to ghost form to heal the damage. Ow, he muttered, floating upright. What happened? You lost control, Whis said, but he was smiling. The hybrid energy is more powerful but also more volatile. You're not used to managing that much force. Thus, we'll need to work on your containment techniques. Danny looked at his hands. The hybrid energy was gone now, dispersed by the explosion, but he could still feel the memory of it, the sensation of two energies working in perfect harmony. "Can I do it again?" Danny asked. "Not today. You're exhausted, and forcing it would be counterproductive." Whis tapped his staff. "Rest for now. Tomorrow we'll—" Whis! Goku burst into the training area, practically vibrating with excitement. I felt that energy spike from outside. Did Danny do something awesome? Indeed. He successfully merged his ectoplasm with his ki, creating a hybrid energy. Whis gestured at the cracked wall, though his control needs refinement. "That's so cool. Can I see? Do it again, Danny." Whis said, "I need to rest first," Danny said, though he wanted to try again just as badly. The feeling of that merged energy had been addictive, pure power flowing through him without restriction. Okay. Goku's disappointment lasted approximately 2 seconds before his enthusiasm returned. "But when you've mastered it, we're definitely sparring again. I want to fight someone using 2 types of energy at once." A slow clap echoed from the entrance. All 3 turned to see Beerus standing there, having apparently witnessed the entire thing. "So the half-ghost has finally started to become interesting," Beerus said, walking forward. "Whis, what's the power output on that hybrid energy compared to his normal attacks?" "Difficult to measure precisely given the brief manifestation," Whis said, "but I'd estimate approximately 3 times the force of his ectoblasts or ki blasts individually. And that's just a raw, unrefined merger. With proper training and control, the multiplier could increase significantly." 3 times, Beerus mused. Still pathetically weak by our standards, but the concept is intriguing. He turned to Danny. "Tell me, half-ghost, what do you plan to do with this power once you've mastered it?" Danny floated down, meeting Beerus's gaze. "The same thing I did back home. Protect people, fight threats that would hurt innocents, be a hero." "A hero," Beerus repeated, his tone unreadable. "How quaint. Do you know how many self-proclaimed heroes I've destroyed over the millennia? Beings who thought their power gave them the right to judge others, to interfere in the natural order." "I'm not like that," Danny said firmly. "I don't judge people. I just stop the ones hurting others. And I definitely don't think I have all the answers. I'm still learning." "At least you're honest about your limitations." Beerus circled Danny like a predator examining prey. "Very well. I've decided you're entertaining enough to warrant my direct attention. Whis has done well teaching you the basics, but if you're going to develop truly unique power, you need to understand what power actually means." "Lord Beerus, are you offering to train Danny directly?" Whis asked, surprise coloring his usually composed voice. "Don't sound so shocked. I trained you, didn't I?" Beerus waved dismissively. "The half-ghost has stumbled onto something novel. Merging life and death energy. That interests me because destroyers exist in a similar space. We're gods of death, yet we're alive. We wield Hakai, which erases, but we ourselves continue to exist." Danny's eyes widened. "You think I could learn Hakai?" "Absolutely not," Beerus said flatly. "Hakai is divine destruction energy. Mortals can't wield it. Well, except for that idiot Topo, but he had to become a destroyer candidate first. No, I'm not teaching you Hakai. I'm teaching you the philosophy behind it." "Philosophy?" Danny repeated. "Destruction isn't about mindless violence," Beerus explained, settling into what was clearly a lecture he'd given before. "It's about balance, creation and destruction, life and death, existence and void. They're not opposites, they're complements. You can't have one without the other. Your hybrid energy works on the same principle. Life key and death ectoplasm aren't fighting, they're dancing." Danny absorbed this, the concept resonating with something deep in his core. He'd spent 2 years seeing his ghost, half inhuman, half as separate, sometimes warring parts of himself. But what if they weren't meant to be balanced against each other, but balanced with each other? I think I understand, Danny said slowly. It's not about choosing life or death, ghost or human. It's about accepting that I'm both and letting them work together instead of competing. Exactly. Beerus looked genuinely pleased. Perhaps you're not as dim as most mortals. Come, let's test something. Beerus held up one hand. Purple energy swirled around it, not Hakai, but raw destructive force. This is destruction energy in its purest form, not enough to erase you, just enough to hurt quite a bit. I'm going to fire it at you, and you're going to try blocking it with your hybrid energy. Let's see if life-death power can resist pure destruction. Wait, what? Danny's eyes widened. You're going to shoot me? Obviously. How else will you learn? Beerus fired without further warning. The purple sphere of destruction energy shot toward Danny. Acting on pure instinct, Danny thrust his hands forward, desperately calling on that hybrid energy he'd just discovered. Teal cyan power exploded from his palms, forming a barrier. The destruction energy hit the barrier. For a heart-stopping moment, the two forces ground against each other. Danny felt the pressure of Beerus's attack, trying to punch through his defense, raw annihilation versus his hastily constructed shield. His hybrid energy flickered and sparked, barely holding. Then, not impossibly, the destruction energy dispersed. Danny stood there, hands still raised, his barrier holding. The teal cyan energy crackled around him like armor made of living lightning. Interesting, Beerus said, lowering his hand. Your hybrid energy has defensive properties. It didn't overpower my attack. It absorbed and dispersed it. Life energy nullifying destruction through death, energy that accepts ending. Clever. Danny collapsed the barrier, breathing hard. A little warning next time would be nice. Where's the fun in that? Beerus smirked. You react better under pressure anyway. Whis add combat application to his training regimen. If the half-ghost can use his hybrid energy defensively, he should learn offensive applications as well. As you command, Lord Beerus, Whis said. Goku was practically bouncing with excitement. So this is so awesome. Danny, you're getting so much stronger. Pretty soon you'll be able to spar with me for real instead of me having to hold back. I think we have very different definitions of soon, Danny said wryly. But despite the exhaustion and the fact that he'd just been shot by a god of destruction, he was smiling. He'd done it. Created something new. His hybrid energy, life and death working together instead of at war. It was a reflection of what he'd always been. Danny Fenton, the boy who lived and died in the same moment, forever caught between worlds. But maybe being caught between wasn't a curse. Maybe it was the source of his strength. All right, Danny said, determination flooding through him. What's next? How do I refine this? Make it stronger? Whis smiled, pleased by the enthusiasm. Now we train you to maintain the hybrid state constantly, not just in brief bursts. We teach you to fight while channeling both energies, and most importantly, we help you discover what other abilities might emerge from this unique fusion. And if you survive all that, Beerus added casually, we'll see if you're worth keeping around permanently. Danny grinned despite the threat. In this universe, that was basically a compliment. The summons from King Yemma came exactly 10 weeks after Danny's arrival in Universe 7. Danny was in the middle of a training session, now able to maintain 25 times gravity while channeling his hybrid energy, when Whis' staff began to glow with incoming communication. The holographic image that appeared showed the massive red Oni looking decidedly irritated. Whis, I can't delay this any longer, King Yemma said without preamble. The Supreme Kai has concluded his investigation of the dimensional breach, and we need the anomaly, Danny Fenton, brought to my desk for official processing. Now, processing? Danny asked warily, powering down his hybrid energy. What kind of processing? The kind where we determine what to do with a being who exists in direct violation of natural law. King Yemma said sternly. And you're alive and dead simultaneously. That creates administrative nightmares across the entire afterlife infrastructure. Every soul-counting system flags you as an error. Every reincarnation algorithm crashes when it tries to classify you. I'm causing system errors in the afterlife, Danny said flatly. My life is so weird. This isn't a joke, young man. The integrity of the soul cycle depends on clear distinctions between living and dead. Your presence threatens that clarity. Beerus yawned from where he was lounging nearby. King Yemma, if you're planning to erase the half-ghost, I should mention he's under my protection now. Attacking him would be unwise. King Yemma paled slightly. Lord Beerus, I have no intention of harming him. I simply need to officially document his existence and determine appropriate protocols for bureaucracy, Beerus interrupted. How tedious. Whis, take Danny to see King Yemma if he insists, but make it quick. The boy still has training to complete. Of course, Lord Beerus. Whis tapped his staff, and the communication ended. He turned to Danny. Well, it appears you're going to visit the afterlife while still alive. Or half alive. This should be educational. Is it safe? Danny asked. King Yemma is bound by cosmic law. He can't simply destroy souls on a whim, Whis explained. However, he does have considerable authority over the dead. Your unique status puts you in a legal gray area. We'll need to be diplomatic. I'll go too, Goku said, standing up from where he'd been watching Danny's training. I've died twice, so I know the way. Plus, King Yemma likes me, usually. The more witnesses, the better, Whis agreed. Come along then. And Danny, I'd recommend staying in your human form initially. Appearing as a ghost might trigger unwanted responses from the afterlife's defense systems. Minutes later, Danny found himself being teleported via Whis' staff. The sensation was different from his own flight or intangibility. A smooth, instantaneous transition that left him standing in a place that defied his understanding of architecture. They stood before an enormous desk that stretched hundreds of feet in every direction. Behind it sat King Yemma, who was easily 50 feet tall, his red skin and horns making him look like a classical demon. Except demons usually didn't wear business suits and shuffle paperwork. Goku, King Yemma boomed, to his stern expression softening slightly. I heard you achieved godly power. Congratulations. And Whis, always a pleasure. And you must be Danny Fenton. Just Danny is fine, Danny said, craning his neck to look up at the giant Oni. So, nice desk? Thank you. It's mahogany, King Yemma said absently, pulling out a massive ledger. Now let's address the issue at hand. Danny Fenton, also known as Danny Phantom, age 14. Almost 15, Danny corrected automatically. From an alternate dimension designated as Earth DP Prime, cause of death, portal accident involving ectoplasmic energy. Except you didn't die. You also didn't live. You achieved a state of quantum existence where both conditions apply simultaneously. A new voice spoke from beside the desk, but which should be impossible. Danny turned to see Supreme Kai standing there, looking troubled. I've completed my investigation of the dimensional breach. The fabric between universes has partially healed, but the rift that brought you here was unusual. Unusual how? Whis asked. Supreme Kai pulled out a glowing orb that displayed swirling energies. Normal dimensional rifts are caused by external forces, reality warping wishes, divine intervention, time paradoxes. But this rift was caused by Danny's existence itself. What? Danny stared at the orb. How is that possible? Because you exist in a state that your home universe was struggling to maintain, Supreme Kai explained. Your half-ghost, half-alive nature created constant stress on the dimensional fabric around you. So when you entered the ghost zone, a realm already existing between dimensions, while a separate dimensional disturbance occurred here in Universe 7, my existence resonated with the disturbance, Danny finished, understanding dawning. like two tuning forks vibrating at the same frequency. The dimensional walls weakened and I got pulled through. Precisely. The disturbance here was caused by Lord Beerus's battle with Goku during their Super Saiyan God fight. The shock waves from their clash rippled across dimensional barriers, and your unique energy signature acted like a beacon. So Goku and Beerus fighting created the circumstances that pulled me here. Danny looked at Goku, who had the decency to look sheepish. Sorry about that. We did kind of almost destroy the universe during that fight. Whis had to lecture us about it afterward. The point, King Yemma interrupted loudly, is that Danny's presence continues to strain dimensional stability. We have three options. 1. Force him back through a rift, which could cause more damage. 2. Keep him here permanently and develop protocols for beings who exist in dual states. 3. Erase his ghost half, making him fully alive and solving the classification problem. No. Danny transformed to ghost form involuntarily, his eyes flaring green. You're not erasing half of me. That's who I am. I'm simply outlining options, King Yemma said, but his tone was gentler. Personally, I recommend option 2. You're not the first anomaly I've dealt with. Goku died and came back multiple times. Vegeta sold his soul and got it returned. Android 17 was mechanical, but developed a soul anyway. The universe adapts to outliers. We just need time to adjust our systems. And I support this recommendation, Supreme Kai added. Danny has shown no malicious intent. He's been training responsibly under Whis' guidance. Forcing him to change his fundamental nature would be cruel and unnecessary. Danny felt relief wash over him. So I can stay as I am? Half ghost, half alive? With conditions, King Yemma said firmly. He pulled out a massive scroll that unfurled across his desk. You'll need to register with the afterlife as a Class 7 entity, living soul with death aspect. This grants you certain privileges. You can enter and exit afterlife realms without dying, communicate with deceased souls. And your spirit won't be forcibly processed if your living body is destroyed. That actually sounds useful, Danny admitted. However, King Yemma continued, you're also subject to restrictions. If you abuse your death-related powers, overshadowing without consent, raising the dead, corrupting soul cycles, I have authority to detain you in afterlife prison regardless of Beerus's protection. Clear? Crystal clear. I already promised I wouldn't abuse overshadowing. Good. King Yemma stamped several forms with a seal the size of a car. You're now officially registered. Welcome to the most complicated filing category in my entire database. There's one more thing, Supreme Kai said hesitantly. Danny, your home dimension? I was able to observe it briefly during my investigation. Time there is flowing differently than here. For every month you spend in Universe 7, approximately 3 days pass in your world. Danny's heart leaped. So I haven't been missing that long. You've been here 10 weeks. In your world, it's been about 21 days. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Sam and Tucker were probably going crazy. His parents would be tearing apart the ghost zone. Jazz would be coordinating search efforts while pretending she wasn't terrified. But they weren't mourning him as dead yet. There was still time to get back before the damage became irreparable. Can you send me back? Danny asked desperately. You said the dimensional barrier is healing. In approximately 6 to 8 months, the barriers will have stabilized enough for safe transit, Supreme Kai said. Attempting it earlier risks creating more rifts or scattering your essence across dimensions. I'm sorry, Danny. I know you want to go home, but forcing it would be catastrophic. 6 to 8 months here. Maybe 2 months at home. Danny could work with that. It wasn't ideal, but it meant his family wouldn't spend years thinking he was gone. Okay, Danny said, forcing down the homesickness. I can wait. I'll keep training, get stronger, and when the time comes, I'll go home. There's also a possibility, Whis said thoughtfully, that once the barriers stabilize, We could establish a permanent portal between dimensions. With proper regulation, you might be able to travel between Universe 7 and your home reality at will. Really? Hope flared in Danny's chest. It would require Zeno's approval and considerable magical infrastructure, but it's theoretically possible. The Grand Priest has created inter-universal travel systems before. King Yemma nodded. I'll file the appropriate requests. If Danny remains in good standing with afterlife law and Lord Beerus continues to endorse him, there's precedent for allowing cross-dimensional travel in special cases. Danny couldn't help but smile. It wasn't immediate, but there was a path home. And maybe, eventually, a way to bridge both worlds. Thank you, Danny said sincerely. All of you, for not just erasing me or forcing me to change. The universe is vast and strange, King Yemma said. If we destroyed everything we didn't immediately understand, there'd be nothing left. Now go. I have 17,000 souls backed up in the processing queue because I've been dealing with your paperwork. One moment, Supreme Kai said, approaching Danny. And he placed a hand on Danny's shoulder, and Danny felt a warm pulse of energy flow through him. A blessing from one who serves creation to one who bridges it with ending. May your dual nature bring balance rather than chaos. The energy settled into Danny's core, making both his Kai and ectoplasm resonate harmoniously. It felt like approval from the universe itself, permission to exist as he was, contradictions and all. Come along, Danny, Whis said, tapping his staff. We have much training left to do, and only months to prepare you for your eventual return home. As they teleported back to Beerus's planet, Danny felt something shift inside him. He'd been officially recognized by the cosmic authorities. His existence was documented, legal, accepted. Thus, he wasn't an error or an anomaly anymore. He was a registered Class 7 entity with rights and responsibilities. And more importantly, he had a timeline. 6 to 8 months of training, then home. And if Whis was right, maybe a way to come back and visit this insane universe whenever he wanted. You're smiling, Goku observed. Good meeting? Yeah, Danny said. Really good. Now let's get back to training. I've got 6 months to become as strong as possible, and I'm not wasting a single day. 4 months into training. Danny stood in the center of Beerus's planet, watching the god of destruction circle him like a predator. You've improved, Beerus said, his tone suggesting this was barely adequate. Whis tells me you can maintain 30 times gravity for hours. Your Kai reserves have increased substantially, and you've mastered your hybrid energy enough to use it reliably in combat. Impressive for a mortal. Pathetic by divine standards. Danny had learned to read Beerus's insults as a form of encouragement. So does that mean I pass whatever test this is? Test? Beerus smiled, showing sharp teeth. This isn't a test, half-ghost. This is an evaluation. I need to determine if you're worth the time and resources we've invested in training you. And more importantly, if you deserve to continue existing in my universe. The temperature seemed to drop. Danny felt his ghost core react instinctively to the threat, cold energy flickering around him. I thought we settled this, Danny said carefully. King Yemma registered me. Supreme Kai approved my presence. I've been training hard and haven't caused any problems. All true, Beerus agreed, but I'm a god of destruction. My job is to remove things that don't belong, that upset the balance of creation. You're a being from another dimension with power that shouldn't exist in Universe 7. The question is, have you become strong enough, useful enough, to justify the anomaly of your existence? Whis stood at the temple entrance, his expression neutral but alert. Goku was beside him, looking concerned. Neither of them moved to intervene. How do I prove that? Danny asked. Simple. Purple energy began to gather around Beerus, making the air shimmer with power. You fight me. If you can last 5 minutes against me without dying, fleeing, or begging for mercy, I'll consider you worthy of remaining in Universe 7. If you fail, the Hakai energy intensified. I erase you. No Dragon Balls, no afterlife, no second chances. Complete annihilation. Danny's blood ran cold. That's not fair. You're a god. I'm just a teenager who's been training for 4 months. Life isn't fair, Beerus said simply. Neither is existence. The strong survive, the weak are destroyed. That's the natural order I maintain. Show me you're strong enough to matter. Lord Beerus? Whis started. Don't interfere, Whis. The half-ghost needs to prove himself. Sandor, this has all been a waste. Beerus's eyes gleamed with something Danny couldn't quite read. Well, Danny Fenton, do you accept my challenge, or shall I erase you now and be done with it? Every instinct screamed at Danny to run. Beerus could destroy planets on a whim. Danny had seen him casually deflect attacks that would have vaporized mountains. Fighting him was suicide, but running meant death anyway. And more than that, it meant proving he didn't belong here, that he was just a scared kid playing in a league he couldn't compete in. Danny transformed to ghost form, his hybrid energy flaring to life around him, teal cyan lightning crackling across his body as Kai and ectoplasm merged. 5 minutes. I can do 5 minutes. Brave or stupid, Beerus said, dropping into a combat stance. Let's find out which. Begin. Beerus vanished. Danny's Kissense screamed a warning. He threw himself sideways, going intangible as a fist passed through where his head had been. The displacement of air alone cratered the ground. Good instincts, Beerus said, already behind him. Danny spun, firing a hybrid energy blast point blank. The teal cyan sphere exploded against Beerus's palm, completely absorbed without damage. Weak, Beerus commented, swatting Danny away with casual force. Danny went flying, tumbling through the air. He caught himself with flight, going invisible and splitting into 4 duplicates. All 4 attacked from different angles, ectoblasts and hybrid blasts filling the air. Beerus stood motionless, letting the attacks hit him. They exploded against his body in a barrage of energy, and when the smoke cleared, he didn't have a scratch. Invisibility is useless when I can sense your ki, Beerus said, pointing directly at the real Danny despite all 4 copies being invisible. And your attacks can't even make me feel them. The power difference was insurmountable. Danny knew this, but he'd faced impossible odds before. He'd fought Pariah Dark, an ancient ghost king who'd conquered entire dimensions. He'd defeated Dan Fenton, his evil future self who'd destroyed the world. He'd survived a reality-warping genie and an asteroid collision. He'd survived because he didn't fight fair. Danny dropped the duplicates, becoming fully visible but channeling his hybrid energy differently. Instead of offensive blasts, he focused it into defense, creating a barrier around himself. Beerus blurred forward and punched. The barrier cracked but held for a split second, long enough for Danny to go intangible and phase through Beerus's follow-up strike. He emerged behind the god and grabbed onto his tail. Got you! He tried to overshadow Beerus. The reaction was immediate and violent. Beerus's ki exploded outward, a purple and white aura that felt like standing in the sun. Danny's ectoplasm was violently repelled, his consciousness thrown back into his own body with force that made his core ache. Did you really just try to possess a god of destruction? Beerus asked, sounding genuinely surprised. That's either incredibly clever or monumentally stupid. Danny gasped, struggling to recover. Wanted to see if it worked. It didn't. My divine ki automatically rejects all foreign entities. Even if you were 10,000 times stronger, you couldn't overshadow a god. Beerus grabbed Danny by the ankle before he could escape. But points for creativity. He hurled Danny into the air. Danny flipped in zero gravity, firing ice beams from his hands to create frozen platforms. He ricocheted off them, changing direction unpredictably while launching hybrid blasts. Maybe volume of attacks would... Beerus appeared in front of him, moving faster than Danny could track. A finger flicked Danny's forehead. The impact sent Danny plummeting back toward the planet like a meteor. He hit the surface hard enough to crater it, his hybrid energy barrier barely preventing serious injury. 1 minute, Beerus called down. You've lasted 1 minute, 60 seconds. I'm barely exerting myself and you're already struggling. Is this really the best you can do? Danny pushed himself up, coughing. And his human form couldn't take much more of this. He transformed fully to ghost form, letting his ectoplasm heal the damage while his ki recovered. The hybrid energy was depleting fast. Maintaining it under this pressure was draining him dry. Think. Beerus was testing him. Not just his power, but his will, his creativity, his ability to adapt. The god could have erased him instantly with Hakai. He wasn't doing that. He was playing with him. No, evaluating him. What did Beerus value? Strength, yes. But also entertainment, uniqueness, things that interested him. Danny smiled despite the pain. If Beerus wanted interesting, he'd give him interesting. Danny split his form deliberately. Not duplicates, but his actual dual nature. Half his ectoplasm separated from his ki, creating two semi-transparent versions of himself standing side by side, or one pure ghost, one pure life force. What are you doing? Beerus asked, actually curious now. Something no one in this universe can do, Danny said with both mouths simultaneously, his voice echoing weirdly. I exist as both life and death, so let's make that literal. The ghost half went intangible and invisible, pure ectoplasm phasing out of normal reality. The ki half remained visible, channeling Danny's life energy into golden light. Beerus looked intrigued. Interesting technique. But you've just halved your power. How does that help? Because you can't track both at the same time, Danny said through his ki half while his ghost half struck from the intangible realm. The ectoplasmic fist phased through Beerus's physical defenses and struck directly at his life force, not trying to possess, but to drain energy the way Danny sometimes did to power up. For the first time, Beerus's expression showed surprise. Not pain, the drain was infinitesimal against his godly reserves, but surprise that Danny had found a way to affect him at all. You can bypass physical ki defenses by attacking from the immaterial plane, Beerus said, genuinely impressed now. That's actually clever. No one in Universe 7 can do that because they can't exist in death while being alive. Your hybrid nature gives you access to both planes simultaneously. Danny's two halves merged back together, his hybrid energy flickering. That technique had drained him massively. Did I pass? You've lasted 2 minutes, Beerus said. 3 more to go, but you've proven something important. You think tactically. Oh, you used your unique nature creatively instead of just throwing more power at me. That's the difference between warriors who survive and warriors who die. Beerus's aura intensified. Now let's see if you can maintain that creativity under real pressure. The next 3 minutes were the longest of Danny's life. Beerus didn't increase his power much. He didn't need to, but he stopped holding back on speed and technique. Danny found himself barely able to track the god's movements, relying purely on ki sense and instinct to dodge attacks that could have vaporized him. He used every trick he'd learned. Intangibility to phase through strikes, invisibility combined with ki suppression to hide briefly, hybrid energy barriers to deflect glancing blows, ice platforms to change direction mid-flight, duplicates as decoys, ectoblasts to create smoke screens. None of it truly threatened Beerus, but it kept Danny alive. At the 4-minute mark, Danny was running on fumes. His hybrid energy was nearly depleted. His ki reserves were bottoming out. His ectoplasm was thin and strained. Every movement hurt. 1 minute left, Beerus announced. You've done better than expected, but can you finish? Danny hovered there, exhausted beyond measure, and made a decision. He gathered every last bit of energy he had, ki, ectoplasm, hybrid power, everything, and compressed it into his core. Not for an attack, for something else. "You know what I learned from training with you?" Danny said, his voice steady despite his exhaustion. "That strength isn't just about power levels. It's about who you are, what you stand for." "Philosophy at a time like this?" Beerus asked, amused. "You wanted to know if I deserve to exist in your universe," Danny continued. "Here's my answer." He released all his remaining energy at once, not as a weapon, but as a declaration. His hybrid aura exploded outward, teal cyan lightning mixed with ghostly green flames and golden ki light. It wasn't powerful enough to threaten Beerus, but it was unmistakably unique, a signature that could only belong to someone who was both alive and dead, mortal and spectral, human and ghost. "I'm Danny Fenton," Danny said, his voice carrying power beyond physical strength. "I'm a hero from another dimension. I protect people who can't protect themselves. I fight against evil even when I'm outmatched. I've died and lived, ended and continued. I exist in ways that shouldn't be possible, and I refuse to apologize for that. And if that's not enough for your universe, then erase me. But I won't stop being who I am, just to fit in." For a long moment, Beerus stared at Danny's blazing aura. Then he smiled. A genuine smile, not his usual smirk of amusement or contempt. "Time," Beerus said simply. The purple Hakai energy around him dissipated. He walked forward and flicked Danny's forehead again, gently this time. "You pass, half-ghost. Not because you're strong, you're still pathetically weak by divine standards, but because you understand what matters. Power without identity is just destruction. You have power, and you know who you are. That's worth preserving." Danny's aura collapsed, exhaustion finally overwhelming him. He dropped out of the air, and Goku caught him before he hit the ground. "That was awesome, Danny," Goku said, grinning. "But you lasted the whole 5 minutes against Beerus. Do you know how hard that is?" "I feel like I got hit by a planet," Danny mumbled. "You practically did," Whis said, approaching with his staff. "Here, let me heal you." Golden light washed over Danny, the worst of his injuries fading. He still felt exhausted, but at least he could think clearly again. "Lord Beerus," Whis said, "was that evaluation really necessary? You could have simply acknowledged Danny's progress without threatening erasure." "Where's the fun in that?" Beerus replied. "Besides, I needed to know if he'd break under real pressure. Anyone can train when they feel safe. True character shows when existence itself is on the line." He looked at Danny, who Goku had set down on the grass. "You've earned your place in Universe 7, half-ghost. As when the time comes for you to return home, you'll go with my blessing. And if you ever want to come back," he smiled, "you'll be welcome." Danny felt emotion well up in his chest. "Thank you, Lord Beerus, for everything. The training, the second chance, the acceptance. Don't get sentimental. I still might destroy your planet if the food disappoints me when I visit Earth." But Beerus's tone was almost fond. "Rest now. In 2 months, the dimensional barriers will be stable enough for transit. We'll spend that time refining your techniques and preparing you for whatever awaits in your home dimension." As Beerus walked back to his temple, Danny lay on the grass of the tiny planet, staring up at the stars of Universe 7. He'd done it. Survived a God of Destruction's test. Proven his worth. He was ready to go home. 2 months later, Danny stood at the edge of a swirling dimensional portal that the Supreme Kai had constructed with Whis' assistance. The gateway pulsed with energy, showing glimpses of the ghost zone on the other side. Familiar green ectoplasm swirling in that infinite dimension between worlds. "The portal is stable," Supreme Kai announced, monitoring readings from a divine tablet. You'll have approximately 30 seconds to cross before the dimensional strain becomes too great. After that, we'll need to close it and wait for the barriers to strengthen again." Danny nodded, trying to absorb the fact that he was actually going home. 6 months here, about 2 months there. His family would be frantic, but at least he'd be back. "Got everything?" Goku asked, clapping Danny on the shoulder. Not everything consisted of a capsule corp container Bulma had made. Danny had visited Earth briefly to meet the other Z fighters and get supplies. Inside the capsule were energy rations, a communication device Bulma insisted might work cross-dimensionally, and a photo of everyone who'd trained with him. Goku, Vegeta, who'd grudgingly admitted Danny's intangibility was tactically useful for a weakling. Whis, Beerus, Piccolo, Gohan, and the others. "I think so," Danny said. He'd changed back into his original hazmat suit for the journey home, the black and white jumpsuit that had become Danny Fenton's signature. But now it crackled occasionally with teal cyan energy, his hybrid power always just beneath the surface. "Remember what we practiced," Whis said, standing beside them. "Your hybrid energy is stable now, but it will feel different in your home dimension. The lack of ambient ki might make it harder to maintain. You'll need to rely more on your ectoplasm until you adapt. And don't forget to keep training," Goku added enthusiastically. "Just because you're going home doesn't mean you stop getting stronger. Push your limits every day." "Even in that backwater dimension with no proper warriors," Vegeta muttered, arms crossed. He'd insisted on coming to see Danny off, though he pretended it was only because Bulma had asked. "Try not to get soft, half-ghost. You're finally approaching the level of a competent fighter. Don't waste it." From Vegeta, that was practically a tearful goodbye. Piccolo stood nearby, arms folded. "Your intangibility and possession abilities are unique. Use them wisely. And remember, being a hero isn't about power levels. It's about protecting those who can't protect themselves." "I will," Danny promised. "Thank you, Piccolo. For the meditation training especially. It really helped." Gohan stepped forward, offering a handshake. "Good luck, Danny. I hope you find your family safe. And hey, if you ever figure out how to open portals yourself, come visit. Videl would love to meet someone else who fights in secret identity." Danny shook his hand, smiling. "I'll try, and thanks for the study tips. Turns out balancing superhero work with school is universal." Beerus descended from where he'd been floating, supervising the portal construction. "Half-ghost, before you go, a parting gift." He placed a hand on Danny's shoulder. A pulse of energy flowed through, not Hakai, but something else. Warm and cold simultaneously, destructive and creative at once. "That's a tiny fraction of destruction energy," Beerus explained. "Not enough to use actively, but enough that your hybrid power will remember the signature if you ever need to destroy something that refuses to stay destroyed. Some immortal ghost or unkillable evil, channel that memory. It won't be true Hakai, but it'll be close enough for your level." Danny felt the energy settle into his core, intertwining with his hybrid power. "Thank you, Lord Beerus, for everything." "Don't thank me, just don't waste what you've learned." Beerus stepped back. "And if your dimension has good food, maybe we'll visit sometime." Whis tapped his staff, smiling warmly. "Danny, it's been a genuine pleasure training you. And you've achieved something no one in Universe 7 has ever accomplished, merging life and death energy into a stable hybrid power. That's remarkable. I suspect you'll go on to do remarkable things in your home universe as well." "I hope so," Danny said. He looked at all of them, the warriors who'd become his friends, his teachers, his allies over 6 months of the most intense training imaginable. "I'm going to miss you guys. All of you." "You better," Goku said, grinning. "And when you come back to visit, you better be way stronger so we can have an awesome fight." "When I come back," Danny agreed, "not if." Supreme Kai checked his readings again. "The portal is at peak stability. Danny, You should go now." Danny took a deep breath, unnecessary in ghost form, but comforting. He turned toward the swirling gateway showing the ghost zone. Home was on the other side. His family, his friends, his city, his responsibility. But he wasn't the same Danny who'd left. He was stronger now, faster, more skilled. He could sense ki, manipulate hybrid energy, fight at levels he'd never imagined possible. He'd trained with gods and survived tests that would have killed him 6 months ago. "All right," Danny said, floating toward the portal. "Time to go home." He was halfway through when Goku called out, "Hey Danny, one more thing." Danny paused, looking back. "You're not just a half ghost anymore," Goku shouted, his grin wide and genuine. "You're a warrior of Universe 7, don't forget that." Danny smiled, feeling warmth spread through his chest despite his ghost form's natural cold. "I won't. I promise." He passed through the portal. The transition was jarring. So Universe 7's ambient ki disappeared, replaced by the familiar cold ectoplasm of the ghost zone. Danny's hybrid energy flickered, struggling without ki to draw from, but he adjusted quickly, just as Whis had predicted, letting his ectoplasm dominate while keeping the memory of Kai control active in his core. The portal closed behind him with a sound like reality sealing itself. Danny floated in the ghost zone, surrounded by swirling green energy and floating doors to various realms. It looked exactly the same as when he'd left, but somehow smaller than he remembered, less dangerous. He'd spent 6 months training in a universe where casual conversations could destroy planets. The ghost zone's ambient hostility felt almost quaint by comparison. Danny oriented himself, sensing for the portal back to Amity Park. And there, he could feel the familiar pull of his hometown, his haunt, the place his human half was tied to. He flew toward it, faster than he'd ever flown before. 6 months of gravity training and ki control had made his flight speed ridiculous by his old standards. The portal back to the living world appeared, a swirling green gateway. Danny shot through it and emerged in the sky above Amity Park. It was night. The city lights twinkled below, peaceful and normal. He checked the time on a distant clock tower, 11:47 p.m. Late enough that most people would be asleep, but early enough that his parents might still be in the lab. Danny's ghost sense went off immediately. A cold mist escaped his mouth. There were ghosts nearby, multiple signatures. He recognized them: Skulker, Ember, Technus, all converging on Fenton Works, his home. Danny's eyes flared green with protective fury. Whatever was happening, he was ending it now. He shot toward Fenton Works like a comet, hybrid energy crackling around him despite the lack of ambient kiwi. The energy was less stable here, more costly to maintain, but he'd spent 2 months learning to compensate. Teal cyan lightning flickered across his form as he approached. The 3 ghosts were circling his house, clearly about to attack. Skulker had his battlesuit's weapons charged. Ember's hair was blazing with ghostly fire. Technus crackled with electrical energy. "Well, well," Skulker said, not seeing Danny yet. "The whelp has been gone for weeks. His parents are vulnerable. Finally, we can—" Danny dropped out of the sky between them and Fenton Works. The 3 ghosts froze, staring at him, and Danny's appearance had changed slightly. 6 months of training had filled him out, made him slightly taller, his aura more controlled and dangerous. But more than that, the energy radiating off him was different, stronger, more refined, predatory. "Danny Fenton," Skulker said slowly. "You're back. Where have you—" "Leave," Danny said, his voice carrying an edge it had never had before. "Now." "Or what?" Ember laughed, but it sounded nervous. "You'll blast us? Please, we've fought you dozens of—" Danny let a fraction of his hybrid energy flare. Teal cyan lightning exploded around him, crackling with power that made the air itself distort. It wasn't god-level power. He was still nowhere near that. but by Ghost Zone standards, it was terrifying. The three ghosts' eyes widened in shock. "I said leave," Danny repeated. His eyes glowed brighter, and then for just a moment, he let them sense what he'd been training with. Not his power level, but the memory of standing before Beerus, the echo of surviving a god of destruction's test, the aura of someone who'd trained in a universe where planet-busting was routine. Skulker's hunting instincts recognized a predator far above his weight class. "Retreat!" he shouted, grabbing Ember and Technus. "Tactical withdrawal!" The three ghosts fled into the Ghost Zone so fast they left contrails. Danny watched them go, then let his hybrid energy dissipate. That had been easier than expected. Apparently 6 months training with gods had given him a presence that scared even veteran ghosts. He floated down to the roof of Fenton Works, transforming to human form. Home. He was actually home. The familiar shape of his house, the GAV parked outside, watching the Fenton sign glowing softly, all of it exactly as he'd left it. Danny phased through the roof into the house, heading straight for the lab. If his parents were still awake, they'd be there. If not, he'd check their bedroom, then Sam's house, then Tucker's. He emerged in the lab and stopped. His parents were there. Jack and Maddie Fenton, both in their jumpsuits, surrounded by equipment and printouts and diagrams. His mom looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. His dad's usual boisterous energy was subdued. "We have to find him, Maddie," Jack was saying, his voice cracking. "Our boy has been missing for 2 months. The Ghost Zone is vast, but we can't give up." "Danny." Maddie spun around, her eyes widening. Danny stood there in human form, suddenly feeling the weight of 2 months' absence. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, Dad." "Hey, I'm home." For a heartbeat, neither parent moved. Then Maddie was across the room, pulling Danny into a crushing hug. Jack followed immediately, his massive arms engulfing both of them. "You're alive," Maddie gasped. "You're actually alive. We didn't know." "Where have you been?" Jack demanded, his voice thick with emotion. "We've been searching everywhere. The Ghost Zone, other dimensions. We even tried contacting NASA to check orbital trajectories in case you've been launched into space somehow." "It's a really long story," Danny said, hugging them back. His human form felt strange after 6 months, mostly using ghost form, but being held by his parents felt right. Short version. I got pulled into another dimension by accident. I've been trying to get home. It took a while. Another dimension? Maddie pulled back, her scientist brain already analyzing. "How? What kind of dimension? Did they have ectoplasmic entities, advanced technology? Were you hurt?" "I'm fine, Mom. Better than fine, actually." Danny smiled. "I learned a lot while I was gone. Met some incredible people, trained in ways I never thought possible." "Trained?" Jack's eyes lit up despite his lingering worry. "You mean ghost hunting training? Did you learn new techniques? Can you teach us?" "Something like that," Danny said. "But first I need to call Sam and Tucker. They're probably freaking out too." "They've been here every day," Maddie said softly. "Helping us search, theorizing, refusing to give up. Jazz is upstairs asleep. She's been coordinating search efforts and handling media inquiries about your disappearance. We told people you were at a science camp. But I'll make it right," Danny promised. "All of it. I'm back now, and I'm not going anywhere." Later, after tearful reunions with Jazz, Sam, and Tucker, conducted via emergency 1 a.m. phone calls, after explanations and demonstrations of his new hybrid energy, which left his friends and family stunned. After promises to tell the full story, tomorrow Danny finally made it to his bedroom. It was exactly as he'd left it. Messy, posters on the walls, homework he'd never finished still on his desk. 2 months here, but it felt like a lifetime ago that he'd been the Danny who lived in this room. He sat on his bed, pulling out the capsule corp container. Inside, among the supplies, was the photo. Danny looked at it. Goku's enthusiastic grin, Vegeta's reluctant smirk, Whis' serene smile, Beerus' satisfied expression, his teachers and his friends from another universe. Danny's phone buzzed. A text from Sam. "Glad you're back. You better have an amazing story tomorrow. Also, you look different, taller, more confident. What happened to you?" Another from Tucker. "Dude, that energy thing you showed us was insane. You have to teach me how to do that. Also, welcome home." And one from Jazz. "I knew you'd come back. We'll talk tomorrow. Get some rest, little brother. Welcome home." Danny smiled, setting the phone down. He transformed to ghost form and back, testing his powers. The hybrid energy was harder to maintain without ambient ki, but not impossible. He'd adapted, just as Whis said he would. His ectoplasm was stronger now, refined by months of ki control. His physical abilities had improved drastically. He was faster, stronger, more skilled than he'd ever been. And he had knowledge. Techniques he'd learned from universe-class warriors, experience fighting gods and surviving tests that would have destroyed the old him. Danny Fenton had left this dimension as a teenage half-ghost hero, struggling to balance school and ghost fighting. He'd returned as a warrior who'd trained with gods, mastered hybrid energy, and earned the respect of a god of destruction. The ghosts of Amity Park had no idea what was coming. Danny looked out his window at the sleeping city. Tomorrow he'd return to school, reconnect with his normal life, face whatever had happened in his 2-month absence. But tonight, he was just grateful to be home. His phone buzzed one more time. "An unknown number," the message read. "Portal construction complete on our end. Stable gateway operational whenever you wish to visit. Training never ends, half-ghost. Whis." Danny laughed softly. Of course, Whis would find a way to message him across dimensions. Bulma's communication device must have worked after all. He typed back, "Thanks for everything. I'll visit soon. Still getting stronger. Danny." The response was immediate. "Excellent. Goku is already asking when you'll come spar. Beerus sends his regards and demands you bring Earth food when you return. Welcome home, warrior." Danny set the phone down, smiling. He had 2 worlds now, one where he was Danny Fenton/Phantom, protector of Amity Park. Another where he was a warrior of Universe 7, student of an angel, recognized by a god of destruction. The dimensional barriers were stable. He could travel between them, visit his teachers, continue training, keep growing stronger. And then when Earth needed protecting, when either Earth needed protecting, he'd be ready. Danny transformed to ghost form one last time, his hybrid energy flickering to life. Teal cyan lightning danced across his hands, a perfect merger of life and death, Kai and ectoplasm, mortal and ghost. "I'm Danny Phantom," he said quietly to his reflection in the window. "Half ghost, half human, warrior of 2 universes, protector of the innocent, and I'm just getting started." In the ghost zone, 3 terrified ghosts were already spreading word. Danny Phantom had returned, and he was different, stronger, dangerous. Something had changed during his absence, and the balance of power in the supernatural world had shifted. They had no idea how right they were. The adventure was far from over. It was just beginning. Danny Phantom's journey through Universe 7 had transformed him from a struggling teenage hero into something unprecedented, a bridge between dimensions, a fusion of life and death energy, a warrior recognized by gods. In 6 months of training that translated to 2 months at home, he'd achieved what no being in either universe had accomplished: the stable merger of Kai and ectoplasm into hybrid power. His return to Amity Park marked not an ending, but a new chapter. The ghosts who'd once been legitimate threats now fled from his presence, sensing the change in him. His family and friends welcomed him back, but recognized he'd grown beyond the Danny who disappeared. He carried himself differently, with the confidence of someone who'd survived impossible tests and earned respect from beings who could destroy planets. But the stable portal Whis had constructed meant Danny's story would continue across both dimensions. He would protect Earth while maintaining his connection to Universe 7, training with gods while defending his hometown, growing stronger through battles in both realities. His unique existence, rejected by neither dimension, accepted by both, gave him opportunities no other hero possessed. Beerus's parting gift of destruction energy echoed in Danny's core, waiting for the moment when conventional power wouldn't be enough. Whis's teachings had given him the foundation to keep growing indefinitely. Goku's friendship reminded him that strength without joy was hollow, and the memory of standing against a god of destruction without flinching had proven what Danny had always believed. True courage wasn't about power levels, but about refusing to compromise who you are. Danny Fenton had become something new, a warrior of two universes, protector of both the living and the dead, a testament to the truth that contradictions could become strengths. His legend would grow in both dimensions, and when the next cosmic threat emerged, whether from the Ghost Zone or from the stars of Universe 7, he would be ready. The half-ghost hero's adventure had only just begun, and the multiverse itself would remember his name. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.